Kia ora, New Zealand. Welcome to Sweet Chain Live. My name's Matt Drake. This is episode 191, and I'm joined this evening by my co-host, Morgan Harfell. Good evening, Morgan.
Evening, Matthew. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well, thanks. Doing very well. I've played a lot of disc golf. Well, for me anyway.
You were saying just in the green room there, you've been all over the course, every which way, up, down, left, right, and yeah.
I tell you, I have. We'll go through the fault line results a little bit later on, which was the first event, 4 rounds round combination of Harcourt Park and California Park. We'll go through those results shortly, but I did want to share with you some antics that we had at League yesterday, which was quite amusing. The wind was up in Wellington. You could say Harcourt Park is often quite sheltered, but not yesterday. It was very, very windy, and we were playing on. I was on a card with a few of the old farts, and we started on hole 5, which is one of the harder holes, and it's basically about 120 meters, but you got to go straight, and then it's like on a righty backhand anhyzer, right, and then just kind of float in and then get under some trees, and then the basket's in front. It's about 110, I think, 120 meters, and so I start off with a triple bogey, right. Now I've never birdied this hole, so it was never going to be one that I would look to take a birdie on, but I would like to get a par every now and again, and so I took a triple bogey. And then I took a bogey, and then I took a bogey, and then another one, and then another one. And then it got to like 2 holes 9 and 10, if you know Harcourt Park, where you should be getting birdies, right? You should be getting these. Took 2 pars. And so through 8 holes, I'm 8 over par. I'm +8 through 8. And I'm like, this is depressing, right? Just to put this into context, my personal best at Harcourt is 5 under. And anything under par is pretty good, right?
So you're bleeding and you're hurting, right, at this point.
And
right?
I was just like, at this point, I'm like, I want to go home. I want to go. I don't want to be here. This is because it was cold. It was a bit darker than normal, and I was just not enjoying life. And then we get to hole 13. So I started on 5. I get to hole 13, and I get 4 birdies in a row. 4. I don't think I've ever got 4 birdies in a row, like ever. Even when I came down and played all the pitch and putts down in the South Island, I don't think I've ever hit.
Sneaky dig there, South Islanders. Don't let them away with that.
Even some of those South Island par 4s managed to. Don't think I got four birdies in a row. But anyway, so very happy with that. Then I took a bogey, then a birdie, and then parred out for the rest of the round. So I got +4 with 5 birdies, which was just crazy.
Work.
Absolutely.
And
crazy.
what week of league is that for you guys?
We're on week 4, I think.
Yep. And how many are you doing?
I think we're on week 4. 8. Let me just
check.
Yeah,
nice. Okay, so you're 1 week behind us. We were on week 5 last night of 8.
That sounds about right. Yeah. That sounds about right. Yeah. I'm just checking now, but I'm fairly sure that was week 4. Yeah. Week 4 of 8 we just played.
Yeah, I managed to have the biggest of turnarounds week to week. Last week I sort of just gave up the goose after about 2 or 3 holes, the way that it sort of started to unfold. I didn't do what you did and pull it back together with a 4-hole bird. I shot an 825 rated round last week. But then came back and shot an 11 under this week for 971. Nice turnaround.
So yeah, that's much better. That's much better. Yeah. My +4 yesterday shook out at 867, which was the same rating as I got 2 weeks ago when I shot even par. So there was a 4-shot difference in conditions last night compared to a couple of weeks before when it was perfect, right? The weather in round 2 was
and tell me, how many people in your league? You have told me, and I feel like it's quite a high number.
It is. So I don't know how many people we had play yesterday. If you give me a second, probably work it out. But or someone in the chat. We normally have full cards of 36 of of 4 players. So that's 36. There's only 9 baskets. So we normally have at least 36, often a few more. 60 people have played, I think. 60 people have like played a round. But as for yesterday, hang on a second. 3,
you're
6,
pretty
9,
similar to us.
12, 15, 16, 20. Then however many played in them MA1, 4, 8, 12, 16. Yes, 37 played yesterday, and it was the weather was pants yesterday.
Yeah. So we've had 53 people playing ours, and I think there was about 30 to 35 people there yesterday. There wasn't enough beers for everyone. The first 24 people get a free beer, and they got scooped up like seagulls. I'll tell you what.
Yeah.
We sort of just put them on the ground and straight in for them. But yeah, man, these leagues have been great because as we've spoken about in the past, we're running ours for free, and all you have to be to get into it as a club member. So I think we've gained closing in on like 8, 9, maybe 10 new club members since the beginning of this. We picked up 4 new ones last night, which was pretty awesome. So
cool.
Just trying to get some more traction with the club down here, getting a few more people involved. We've got so many players that we see out here on like a daily basis that aren't involved, and we just need to get them across that next step. And when they see us out there having this sort of fun, it's hard to deny.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Scott's asked for an example of a South Island par 4. I think we all know it. We know it when we see it, don't we? It's a hole which is very short and is a par 4. There are 2 of them on the Queenstown course, or at least one of them, which is a like what is it, 90-meter par 4. And there's not really any reason for it to be a par 4.
Yeah, I know. It's like, I mean, I can drive both of those, and I guess it's more tailored to that intermediate, beginner-friendly player, isn't it? You know, we're trying to introduce people to the sport. We're not all professionals around here, Matt.
No. I agree. I very much so. It's slightly tongue-in-cheek, but because generally I'm talking about shorter courses down south, which tend to be the case. You know, I could run some stats on it to show that the South Island has shorter courses than the North Island. Maybe I'll get the data analytics team to look at that one day. But yeah, anyway, right, let's get on with the show. What have we got on for you tonight? We're going to go through some hot scores. Then we've got a couple of tournaments to go through. Faultline Fury, Auckland Disc Golf Champs also was held over the weekend. We'll go and also I want to have a chat to you, Morgan, about Tech Disc. Have you heard of Tech Disc?
I have. I have not seen it in a little while, and I believe you've been giving it a bit of a try.
I gave it a go at the weekend, yeah. So Galal had it at the at Faultline, and he set it up on the stage. If you've been to Hardcore Park, you know what I'm talking about, the sound stage at Hardcore. And gave it a few throws, had to go with the sidearm and the backhand and everything. And it tells you basically, well, we'll go through it in a bit. It tells you all sorts of stats about how your throw went, which you can then use to try and narrow down what it might be that's preventing you from throwing better than you are.
Yeah, trying to fix your game. Trying to fix your game, basically, and you can do
at
it
least from a driving
incrementally.
Yeah, that's it. We're going to play a bit of Disc Duel and some Disc Golf Valley in a bit, and then we're going to talk through upcoming tournaments and go through the power rankings, which might have changed. There are a few bits of news to go through and to cover, which we'll do a little bit later on as well. Nothing too big, I don't think, has come out in the last week, but we'll cover those items as and when we get to them. First up, hot scores. Morgan, take us through this out.
Yeah, hot scores. And while I'm reading these out, guys, I'm actually interested. I'm just looking over on the channel right now, and there's 28 people with us. So welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. I'd love for you, because there's a lot of names in here that I know, but there's some that I don't. I'd love for you to type in the chat, everybody, where you're actually viewing from. That would be quite interesting to me. So if you wouldn't mind doing that, and I'll get into the hot scores. Queen's Park this week. Queen's Park this week, and we've got Mr. Josh Walker, 12 under par this week, sir. You have got the keys to the course. Peter takes down the W at Chingford with a 7 under par. Cummings, he's becoming an echo in my garage. 4 under par this week at Brockville. The Stiff Meister gets it done at both Queenstown Gardens and Lismore over in Wanaka this week. He shoots a 13 at the Gardens, 13 down, and then he also shoots a 9 under par over at Lismore. So well done, Stiff Meister. Ashton Clark up at Jelly Park, 15 under par. There's definitely no South Island par 4s up there, is there, Matt?
Definitely not.
Warren Park, and we have Josh Mason with an 8 under par. KBG at Smallbone Reserve with a smashing 17 under par this week, team. Huge score right there. Robbie Talbot at Queen's Park Reserve shoots a 5 under par. 11 under par is for Patrick Ludlow at Saxton Field. I love seeing Paddy's name up on here. I've still got a few of your items you sent me, Patrick, that are in my garage. We won't speak of what they are, but they are bloody hilarious. And Brantford Park is our final stop in the South Island this week, and we have Stephen Torrey and Alex Batten both shooting a 13 under par. Let's head up to the north, Matt.
In the North Island, we have Ben Morrison hits Berrenpore for 5 this week, with going over the hills with a solid score there. Over at Hikoikoi, Matt Badger hits 3 under par. Up the valley at Harcourt Park, Jung Ha takes it out this week with a 1 under par. And at Linklater, Arthur Horn hits 9 down. Across to Maryland's Jason Gray hits 2 under par, and at Spa Park Black, King Patty is at it again with 2 under par. Chris Chaos and Edwina Mandisodza can't decide who's best, and as they both tie around Henderson at 5 down. Jackson Sullivan hits Woodhill for 5 under par, and finally at Rosedale, Oscar goes round at 7 under par. Morgan, we've got some people from quite I was going to say quite far away, but in some cases they're not. I think Dunedin is probably the furthest, certainly from Wellington.
Yeah, good. We're finding a good few corners of the country in the chat here, guys. Thank you very much for getting involved. Welcome. Taupo, Christchurch, P Naughty, Taranaki, Dunedin, Windy, Wellington, Hawke's Bay, Invercargill, Taupo, Upper Hutt, Dunedin, Otipoti, and Palmy in the house.
There it is.
Thank you for getting involved, team. Love to hear from you.
That's it. And so there was some results at the weekend. Let's have a look at the first one. So we'll go to Fault Line, which is an event that I played in. I've played in this event for a few years now. It's really, really good. There was a slight change to the layouts that they had this year. So instead of playing the full Harcourt twice and the full California 4 times, it's a 9-hole course. You play it twice. They combined them and had the what you might call the hardest 9 to a degree at Harcourt Park, with a few modifications, and 9 holes at California Park, and then we played that 4 times. What I liked about it was that you were playing the same holes as everybody else in the tournament each round.
Yep.
Right. So what that meant was that in terms of ratings, you were all using the same thing. Oh, disappeared. There it is. We were all using the same ratings calculation, if you like, for every single round, which I liked. So let's have a look. In MA1, MA1, Johnny Wake took this one out. He was the favourite going in, and in MPO, and took out the win comfortably by 8 shots. Although, honestly, it's closer than it looks, right? So there was a point, I think, at about hole 9, around hole 8 or 9, where there was just 1 shot in it.
Wow.
And then Johnny, in the second half of the final round, pulls away from Andy Davey. Young has a very good second round, which kind of cements his 3rd place. He didn't, after that, it didn't really move away. But yeah, the Johnny Wake dominates.
So one shot in it coming down the stretch, basically. What do you think caused that turnaround? Was it bad luck? Was it pressure? Was it course pressure from Johnny as well?
Could be anything.
Yeah.
And the reason I say it could be anything, right? I know that's a bit of a rubbish answer. there was a few holes, right? And one of the criticisms I'd have about the course the weekend, and chat, if you were there, really interested to hear your thoughts, right, on this, is one of the criticisms that I'd have is that the modifications that were made to California Park and the modifications that were made to Harcourt Park on the holes that we played were, generally speaking, not in all cases, but generally speaking, they increased the luck element on a hole. And what happens when you increase the luck element on a hole is you dilute the skill element to a hole, right? And so we talk about score separation, and we talk about score separation, and we talk about how that's so important on holes. And for any tournament directors watching who are interested in my thoughts on this, yes, it's very important to have score separation, but it's also important to have score separation with the right mixture of skill and luck, right? And so the example that I'll give you here, right, is that hole. I don't know what hole it was because all the numbers were out, but the regular hole 9 at Harcourt Park was played slightly differently. Now, normally, it's a 50-meter shot with the basket up on a bank, right? So you played it.
I just want to pause you right there. Sorry, Matt, because I'm sitting here racking my brain on which direction you could be going here, and all I can think back to is banked baskets.
Yeah,
that's exactly where my mind was.
So this is a basket that's on a bank. It's a bit like that one at Worlds where Nicholas Antillon, was it Proctor? They rolled away. Anyway, but it's way shorter, right? So it's only 50 meters, and it's up quite a relatively steep bank. Like it's not you notice it when you're walking up it, right? So, and you've got to really drag your cart up. Anyway, so the danger is obviously that you hit the cage or you hit a big tree stump that's in front and then roll down. What happened on our card in the first round was one of the guys, I think it was Marlowe, he had a drive and had a putt from like 6 or 7 meters. And I had a putt from about the same distance, pretty much next to him. And I made my putt. He didn't make his putt, but not by very much. He hit the chains and kind of skimmed off the thing, as you know, it can happen. And then it skims off, and because it's you know what's happening. It's rolling down, and it goes into what they've labelled as a hazard area, right? So at the bottom of this bank, you've got to clear a hazard to get up to it. Do you know what I mean? So what's happened is that then he has to then pitch up from the hazard and then take his putt, and that's a 5. And I've walked away with a 2, and really, I think the difference in skill compared to luck there, if you look at the mixture of skill and luck, and then the difference in score separation, I'm not sure that that's the right kind of matchup.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
for sure.
If you've got a one stroke difference for being slightly unlucky, or even a 2-stroke to a degree, then I can kind of see it. But when you've got a 3-stroke now, so that's not to say that island holes are a problem, because when they're on the flat, you don't have these rollaways and then it rolls for 10 meters to put you back into the hazard or the OB or whatever, right? So that would be just one example. Actually, as it turns out, we were chatting about this at League on Wednesday. If he was to have left his mini in where he took his putt, he could have retaken the throw and not taken the hazard stroke. Is that right? And then kind of gone, I'm abandoning that throw, so I'm going to retake this throw, and then that would have been a 4.
But because he's still getting an extra stroke. He's still getting a stroke for going back to his lie. You can play your last lie with an extra stroke at any point.
But because he's rolled into the hazard, his last one's rolled into the hazard, then
putting for 2, gone down to there, putting for 4. No, he'd still be putting for 4 either. Sorry, I'm just throwing numbers. He would still be putting for the same amount, would he not?
Oh no, but he's rolled miles away. So he's rolled into like circle 2, right? So
Right.
I mean, yeah, he could.
Oh,
He
right.
would be
Okay, so he can go for
Don't
another
make that
putt
putt.
rather than having to pitch up
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. He is still throwing for the same amount of strokes, but I see what you mean now.
Okay. So anyway, and then there was the regular hole 1, the tee pad was moved back. Now, I think that actually 2 things happened here. I think that the gap that you had to hit, right, was less than a meter. You had to hit a gap that width-wise was less than a meter.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to get out into the open, once you're out in the open, it's easy. They added a stroke on to make it a par 4, and everybody tried to go through the gap. I made it once. I got out once. Simon Fogarty, who's on my card, he got through 3 times, right? And so, and this is another example, I think, of where luck has been brought in, and it's not, by moving the tee pad back and adding the par on. What I think has happened is it's bunched up a load of pars and prevented a load of birdies. So people who might have otherwise have got birdies have now got pars, and maybe stretched out the bogeys. But I'm not sure it's done quite enough it's like a sawtooth is what I suspect it looks like, right? Rather than a bell curve.
Yep.
And what I would have done with that hole is actually move the tee pad back further, but then made the grass that was on the other side of the car park inbounds as a way of getting round the tight gap. If you didn't want to take it, would have been incredibly hard birdie to make if you went laid up. But then that's kind of the point, right? If you don't want to run the gauntlet, so to speak, you shouldn't have an easy option for the birdie.
Then you've just got Johnny Wake going, went over the top on that hole, 14 each round, as the gap was too unlucky.
Yeah. So look, if you've got
the arm of Johnny Wake,
if you've got an arm of Johnny Wake and you're fortunate enough to be able to do that, I looked at it and went, there is no chance, because I just don't have it. I saw one guy try it, and he landed in the car park, and that was sort of enough for me to not have a look. So yeah, I think that what might have happened between Johnny and Andy, and Johnny's in the chat, so maybe he could give us a TLDR of what actually happened. I suspect it might well have been that there was a little bit of luck went either way. Johnny's seen an opening and gone bang. I mean, we know how aggressive he is, right? So we know that if he gets an opportunity and he takes a few in a row, he can quickly get on a bit of a roll. So anyway, so Johnny Wake wins in MPO.
You carry on, finish out the scores here, and then I'll get onto my thought here.
Okay, so Johnny Wake wins in MPO, Andy Davey in second, and Young Ha in third. Noteworthy is it's Young Ha's first 1,000 rated round. So congratulations to Young. He joins the 1,000 rated club. We ought to do something on that, or to get some more information on that. His previous best, Morgan, do you remember?
999.
It was 999, correct? Yes, he was a quiz question answer. You'll recall from a few. I have to take that off the quiz for next year. Anyway, so yes, so they're your top 3 in MPO. In MA1, Josh Weavers wins with 3 fantastic rounds. I played with him on the first round actually, and he played okay, but he didn't light up the world. And then as the rounds went on, he just got progressively better. 980 rated round in round 3 was very, very good indeed. Ben Morrison in second place with 2 under par. Mike Williams with +3, and Liam Haberfield +4. Liam Haberfield plays for New York Empire, the pro ultimate frisbee team in America. FA1, Amy Whitmore takes out the division quite comfortably by 13 shots over Kath Headley and Debbie Mills in third place. In MA40, Richard McDonald wins by 7 strokes over Brett Carlisle. And honestly, I didn't play with him at all over the weekend. I was on a way further down. he just looked comfortable the whole time, right? Put in a really good second round, but after that, just cruised. I think others would have played with him as well, but obviously when you're trying to fight to get back, then it was tough. Brett was kind of comfortably in second for the majority of the time. It looks close between him and Ryan, but Ryan came back. Finished fourth and fifth, respectively. Managed to pull out a half piece of round.
Well done, dragging yourself back up the list a wee bit there.
It was
you were definitely further down when I checked in.
I got 2 double bogeys in that final round as well. So what could have been, eh? But yeah, no, it felt great to kind of have the shake a bit of the rust off, and also in that final round, it started to feel like. And if anyone's in the chat, let me know if you've felt this way before. You've not played or played seldom for months and months and months, maybe up to a year or so, and then when you go back and you start playing again, and you feel, and it takes a while, but you get to a point where you feel like you used to feel when you were playing more regularly. Yeah, and that's the feeling. 100%. That's the feeling that I got in that fourth round. It was great. To get a feeling of going, oh, do you know what? I can actually put some stuff together here and be relatively competitive and push people and advance up the card and all that kind of stuff. So that was really good. That was really good. Just having a look at the chat, we've got Johnny Waite said he said it came down to who made putts, as if everyone threw similar shots off the tee or much hole, not much room for creativity. Yeah, so there was well, let's have a look at this. California Park. Yeah, okay, that's fairly straightforward. I think there's yeah, I'd agree with that. I'd agree with that.
Tom, have you just caught that last comment from Brett Carlisle there? Cool, thank you.
Going back to the results then, in MA3, Emil Scott. He's a Wellingtonian local, plays a lot of his disc golf down at Hikoikoi. Takes out the win by 4 shots over Phil Nicholas, and Andrew Lecoq in third. Big division there. Big division.
Huge division.
Fantastic to see.
26 deep.
And then finally in MJ18, Kieran McLeod takes out the win by 9 strokes over Finton Reich and Tane Payne. Played on the same round as same card as Tane in the first round. I don't know how old he is, but I think he must be about 13. And he's got an arm. He can throw far.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's maybe one to keep half an eye out on in the Wellington scene, certainly. 853 in round 3 is nothing to be sniffed at when you're that age.
No, absolutely not. So two things. That's all good. Yeah, I just want to drop back to two things here. Have we had Amy Whitmore on the show before?
I'm sure. Oh, I don't know. Producer Tom might know better than me.
Sorry to just throw that one in the mix. I've just realised
I've certainly asked her. I've certainly asked her, but I think she might have been, because she travels a lot on holidays.
She does, and I think that she would be a great person to have on the show here. Even just looking at her page right now, in FA40 alone, she's only had 1 second place, and the rest are all first places. And there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wins.
Isn't she the best female master in the world, amateur master in the world? She's still. Oh, she's 5th. Sorry, she's currently ranked 5th in the Global Masters League.
Yeah. Tom, can you just repeat to me what you just said, please? We have never had her on the show. Amy, if you're watching, and if you're not, someone that knows Amy, Leon, I know you're there. Have a chat, please, and I'll also be having a chat because I'd love to have her on the show. I'd love to have you on the show if you're here. I also just want to revisit one comment here from Arne Burgess, who said, I do believe the landing area standards are coming American A tiers because of holes like Worlds this year. Now, what that brings my thought to next is I don't think we've been through the proposed changes for 2025.
proposed rule changes. I don't know if we have
Yeah.
actually.
We have not, and it won't be for tonight.
No,
unless
we'll
we
do
can
that.
bring them up quickly. But
I
that's
haven't
definitely
researched
something we need to start looking into.
We'll go through it next week. Let's do it next week.
100%.
Okay. There was another event played at the weekend, and that was Auckland Disc Golf Champs, which was played at the Orchard up in Auckland. And this was played on a fairly long par 65, 20 holes, just over 2 clicks in distance. And in MPO, Jackson Sullivan wins comfortably by 24 shots in the end, shooting a smoking hot 10-26. And
he's an incredible player, man. So incredible.
4 shots better than the next best by the looks of it. In that first round, which is incredible. Just absolutely on fire and took apart MPO. So very well done. There, Chris Sinai in second, Matthew Masters in third. Down to MP40, Mark Dakiv takes out the win over Kane Meal in what would have been a close fight, going with a final round, both shooting a 9:32 final round. Joe Fish-Seebeck in third. Chris Townsley. Right, so Chris Townsley finishes second overall with an even par. He would have placed second by 7 shots in MPO. And in fact, many of those, so the top 5 in MA1 would have finished in the top 6 in MPO if they'd all played.
Just jumping back onto that page myself.
Okay. So I just leave that there to say that, that's a thing, right? That's a thing.
That is a thing.
Because when you look further down, just if those players played in MPO, would other players play in MA1?
I think there's such a super large amount of players that are in MA1 that could definitely play MPO rather, and the only thing holding them back is their round ratings going like this, and not more like a sawtooth, like you said, and not like a bell curve. So it's that exact thing. That could almost be the only thing holding people back. I mean, again, in league last night in hugely windy conditions, Jordan McAnally in MA1 shot 12 under par. So
the other thing is, which we've had on the show before, is entry fees, right? That makes a difference. Typically MPO entry fees are $20, $30 more than on average. Probably.
Yeah, that's 10 to 20 at most usually, though. It's not a massive amount.
On a tournament basis, no. If your tournament's in a year, you might look at that $300 and go, that could go somewhere else. Don't know if that's a thing that people feel as strongly about. I don't know. In MA1, Charlotte Dunkley was competing on her own, but wins over the other ladies. Scores better than the FA40 and FA2 ladies who were playing the same lane. In MA40, Roger Ulbra wins by a single shot over Les Wattenay, who was charging back at the end. So Roger takes out the win in MA40. Hayden Shaw finishes third. He was the pre-tournament favourite. In FA40, Edwina Mandisodza wins over Laura Backer. In MA50, Chris Kingsnorth wins by 3 shots over Andy Brewster. Both shooting red hot final rounds. 941, 950. 950 is a good score.
Yeah, that's great shooting from both those guys. Great battle.
Rebecca Bennett wins FA50 and Sam Richardson takes out MA2. 976, Morgan, in MA2. Incredibly good shooting.
Beautiful there, Sam.
Nikki Toff wins FA2 over Madison White. And in MA3, Nathan Sharp takes out the win here, presumably on a playoff against Cullen Urson, both finishing as they did on +3. Lacey Ann Sims takes out FA3, and Carter Gojak wins in the junior division. So yeah, a couple of things there to that I think are worth looking at, and we need to have a conversation about when is the right time to play MA1 and when is the right time to play MPO. And I know people will say, oh, I've got my own, it's up to the individual. And I know people will say, oh yeah, but the PGA say that you can do this, right? Yeah, I get it. All of those things are true, but really, when should you move? When should you move? Bearing in mind that the point is to presumably challenge yourself as well as
I'm right on that tipping point between MA1 and MPO. So sometimes I'll decide on one or the other. And the only thing I'm playing Day at the Lake in 2 weeks' time, and I actually didn't realize until I just looked at the PDJ website and thought, where am I in MPO? Oh, I'm down in MA1, and then I remembered, oh yeah, Levi Stout's playing, so I'll go and give myself a chance in MA1 instead.
So that's interesting, and maybe a thought that's worth taking into when we have this as a conversation, because Levi's playing, and presumably you don't consider your chances against Levi to be all that high. You've decided that I'm going to play in a division where I know at least there's not a player who's definitely going to beat me.
So here's the thing, right? I haven't had a win in God knows how long, right? But I know when I look at the list of people that's there, who I can beat, and one day I'll do it. I'll beat them all. It's just not going to be when Levi's there.
Fair enough.
Hey, it's the honest truth. I can look at every single player in the MPO field and know I can beat them, except.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's arguably the best New Zealander who's ever played disc golf. So
exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there's I think there's probably a fair shout. Right. Right. Where are we going now? Let's have a look at Tech Disc now. This is something that you said you'd looked at before?
I have seen it before.
Okay. So do you know how it works?
The technical ins and outs, probably not, but I understand what it's doing. So let's go through it.
So as you can see up on the screen now, there's a bit of a video going through about what's going on, and this is what they had set up on the sound stage. So what you do is you download an app, the Tech Disc app, onto your phone, and then they've got the net set up on the stage, and you get one of these discs that they give you. Now, the disc that I was throwing was a Destroyer. And then on the back of this disc, they've fixed this little, as you can see it on the video, this little black, presumably it's like a gyroscope and a whole bunch of other tech inside this thing, which they charge up via a USB. And then you throw it lots of times into the net, and it doesn't take ages to upload. You throw the disc, and then by the time you've got to your phone and looked at it, it's already there and telling you what's going on, right? Yep. And it tells you all sorts of stuff, right? So it tells you your MPH. It tells you your, wait a minute, I had this website up in front of me a second. It tells you your spin, like RPMs. It tells you your wobble, launch, your nose angle, your launch angle,
hyzer
angle, all sorts, right? And so I had great fun with this. This was good. It kind of told me stuff that I sort of knew already, right? Which was that my nose angle was very high. So
Tom, can you just click that view throws button that's on there, mate? That'll take you to the same screen I've got off to my left. And it'll have a data set that comes up on the screen any second there. There you go.
Yeah, so that's basically what I got as a download, but it was obviously I got fewer data points because I didn't throw it 1,000 times. But as you can like with what's it got there? So there's that's all the stats you get. Now, I had great fun with this. I did 26 backhand throws and 5 forehand throws, and my 26 backhands. Are you ready, Morgan, for some stats?
Love stats.
My speed was 77 kilometers an hour, right? Which sounds really fast, doesn't it?
Yep.
77 kilometers an hour is about 48 miles per hour. And
Okay.
to give you an idea as a comparison, the top pros, I've got the numbers here. So who's the fastest? Who's got the fastest arm out of the ones I've got here? David Wiggin. Oh, actually, let's go. Anthony Barella has got a MPH of 82.2. Mine was 47. So I'm running at about half his speed.
Yeah.
So that was, yeah. My spin is 882 RPM. This is kind of the average over the holes that I did, over the throws that I did. That compares to again, let's take Anthony Barella at 1400, nearly 1500 RPM. And then here's where I run into problems, right? My wobble's actually pretty good. My wobble is like at like 2 degrees, right? Which is very good. Which is you obviously want 0, but like my wobble's comes out pretty smooth. My nose angle was always, it came out as 7.3 here, and ideally, I was speaking to Galal, and he said you want your nose angle to be anywhere between -5 and 10. Sorry, -5 and -10.
So wait, are you hyzering or anhyzering?
Well, so this was interesting. Let me just grab a disc so I can kind of show you how this works, right?
My stats on this would be hilarious.
Right. So it's worth mentioning that nose angle, right, is this angle here. So the disc is traveling in this direction, all right? So from left to right.
Yep.
As people are watching it. And nose angle is this angle here. Okay, so this angle, right? Whatever angle that is from the horizontal plane. But it's not the horizontal plane because it's this nose angle in comparison to the plane of how the disc is being moved, right? So if you start off real low and come up, right, then the disc might well be doing this, and then your nose angle isn't this, right? Your nose angles it is, so if it's doing this kind of motion, like almost like a sail. Do you get what I mean? Am I making any sense? Right?
You are.
It's relative to the movement. So the nose angle is relative to the movement. So when they say -5, -10, you don't want to let the disc go like this because it's just going to hit the floor. But you want the launch angle to be compensating for the nose angle, if that makes sense. So you want to be throwing the nose angle down. So you want the disc to be kind of doing this, I guess, right? Which kind of makes sense. So it's kind of flat, but relative to the ground, it's going to look like the disc is going in and upwards. Have I made any sense?
I think without the prop, you would have sounded
that, you're doing well.
Absurd. But with the disc, you're all right.
Essentially, what I'm doing is what I think I knew that I was doing all along, which is good, which has got a horrendous air bounce.
Yeah,
and I blame 15 years of Ultimate for that.
That's what I was thinking, because I'm the same as you. I have a crazy air bounce. I feel like every time I play with someone I don't play with regularly, they have to be like, "Oh, that's an interesting throw."
But then Phil McLeod came on and gave it a go after me, and his nose angle was perfect. He was spot on with his nose angle and his launch angles and stuff, and he throws further than me, so story checks out. But his spin and his pace weren't that all too dissimilar, and my wobble was better.
Yep.
So I would argue then that if I can sort this nose, I could be throwing on par with Phil. maybe even slightly further. So, and he can push 110, 120 on a good day, right? So, like, I think that's what it is. Now, I know there's a few other players in New Zealand who have had a go at this. Tom, I don't know if we can get the pro stats up on the screen. That's a thing. So this is sorry, it's a bit thin. Oh, okay, we might be able to see it there. That'll do. So as you can see, all their nose angles are pretty low, are in that kind of very low, or if anything, negative. If you scroll down, you've got Ella Hansen there as well. She's an interesting one because so maybe I'll have to talk to her about how she's managed to fix that nose angle, because that's a very good nose angle, and she gets an incredible amount of spin on it. Obviously, her MPH is what is the difference in that distance, because her revolutions is similar to that of like Eagle or Anthony Barella, but it's her arm speed which is significantly slower, and that's the difference between, I guess, what does she throw, 550, 600 feet and 700 feet. So yeah, I think that's an interesting one to look at. There's lots of I think there's one tech disc kind of setup in Palmy that Galau runs, and there's one, I think there's one in Taranaki. Someone said they were from Taranaki, so maybe they can confirm or deny this. I don't know, but I heard there was one in Taranaki. So if you're ever in, well, there may even be at Egg Monster, but if you're in something, a town where this is going on at a tournament, then definitely give it a go. It's good fun, and you get to have a few throws and give it a go and see how you're going. Louis saying a guy in our club has one. I threw average 60 miles an hour, 1200 spin -1. Yeah, so 400 foot shots depending on the line. So yeah, Louis, you're way out throwing me, but that's because your arm speed is higher, your spin is higher, and your nose angle is better. Yeah, that's all checking out.
And you can get yourself one at that website too, can't you? Techdisc.com, and they're $299.99 US.
Yes. So if you want to get it shipped over now, I think that they but once you've got it set up, all the data goes to people's phones and stuff. So you don't need to be like a coder or anything like that in order to make it work, because it's all done for you through the app. Yep. So yeah, get yourself one of those. It'd be interesting. I don't know whether there'll be one of these at nationals or a tournament like that. It'd be nice, I guess, if someone popped up and said we've got one. For sure. Bring along.
It'll be interesting, because I think we're going to start seeing a lot more tech similar to this coming out. I mean, you only have to look as far as the golf market, with their simulators and all the different ones they've got there now, and they've got portable ones you can take out that just basically have a camera on you, and they can pick up everything down to the spin on the ball as well. So in real time. So that tech's going to keep getting better and better and better too. And that'll be a great tool for everyone to sort of grow their game.
It's definitely something that I'd advise you have a go at. I mean, what it doesn't tell you is it doesn't say, right, now you know that nose angle is an issue. What are you going to do to fix it, right? So it doesn't tell you. It's if you separate results and behavior for a moment and say that behavior. The aggregation of behavior leads to a set of results, right? And those behaviors can be macro or micro behaviors. The aggregation of micro behaviors, leads to results. What it doesn't tell you is, I've got these results. What are the micro behaviors that I need to do in order to change the results? It doesn't do that, right? And then the step after that is then how do I actually do those micro behaviors? So I've got to identify them, then I've got to work out actually how to do them. It doesn't tell you, it doesn't go into those, but it does a very good job, I think, of giving you the results. So yeah, so that's I would definitely, if you can have a go at one of those at a place near you, then give it a go. Apparently they don't ship to New Zealand directly, but I mean, I'm sure if you chat,
there's ways around that.
Yeah, exactly. There's lots.
There's always ways around that.
I mean, there's UPost or whatever that New Zealand Post thing is, which might be a thing. Anyway, take a look at that. It's good fun. Hopefully, you'll get a go at it. Right, let's have a look at Temuka. That's coming up, Morgan.
Yes, Temuka Tussle
coming up this weekend. Let's have a look at the lineup. Sorry, I'm a bit behind.
90 players deep for this weekend.
That's great, isn't it? And Sebastian Faulkner and Willie Taratana, Sam Lycan and Sam Cole and Isaac Latter will go to battle. You and Craig will also be competing.
I think I might be right in calling this one, and Tom will probably be able to tell me in my ear. Did Willie Taratana win this last year, Tommy? He believes he did as well. Yeah, I'm just going off the top of the dome on that one, but I think Willie took that down last year, so look out for him to go back to back. 23 and 22. Three, Pete?
Sebastian Faulkner wasn't playing last year, so he's got a different challenge. Is all I'd say. I'm not saying he can't win it. I'm saying he's got a different challenge.
Yep.
This
absolutely.
Year. And down in MA1, big MA1 division, 16 strong, pretty tight division, I think, this year in MA1. But we'll see whether Magnus Davidson can make it back to backs.
That's going to be the interesting one, right?
Yeah,
got the W, and now seeing if you can back it up straight away.
That's it. Tom, can we get the odds? Can we have a look at the odds for this weekend for Temuka?
He's just bringing that up. And yeah, FA1, Casey Brown, Amanda Hooper, Christina Orr. And you look like you've got the odds coming up right now. There we go.
Right, let's have a look. So the odds for this one, Sebastian Faulkner is the favourite going into this event. At odds of 1 second, I've got to bring it up on my screen as well now. 2.5, and Jack Maffey with odds of 3.6. Willie Taratana is actually third favourite for this one, at odds of 8. In MMA1, Magnus Davidson goes in favourite, thanks to his win last 2 weekends ago. Sorry, Dwan Fisher is second favourite. Logan MacArthur third. Ben Schicker is fourth favourite.
Big points jump from Magnus to Dwan there, eh? 3.3 to 7.3.
Yeah, that's the difference between being just outside the top 20 and ranked 58th. In the case of Dwan, it's the way the dominance factors within the power rankings work is that towards the very top end, that you're very stretched out in a lot of cases, and that's how they work. Amanda Hooper goes into FA1 as favourite over Christina Orr, and Andrew Inch is favourite over Lance Eaton, despite being fairly similarly ranked. I suspect that'll be quite a tight matchup between the two of them. In FA40, Janine Frost is the favourite over Jenny Gould. MA50, Gregor Brosnahan at odds of 5, which astounded a few people who we've shared these with previously, notably producer Tom, who threw the kitchen sink at Gregor Brosnahan to win this weekend. In MA2, Nico Prentice odds of 7 over Blake Whelan. MA4 and Ash Poi Poi at 7.3, but you can see as you go further down, it's incredibly close, and it's very, very hard to pick out a winner. And then Sarah Wadsworth goes into FJ18 as the favourite.
Fantastic. Yeah, Temuka Tussle, definitely going to be a great weekend down there. Hopefully the weather holds up for those guys. It's such a beautiful part of the country. And I bet they're going to have another smashing tournament.
Absolutely. Right, let's play some games, shall we? Disc Golf Valley. Do you want to do Disc Golf first? Which one do you want to do first?
Are we playing Disc Golf Valley, or are we just looking at the scores?
No, I've not played Disc Golf Valley. but we'll play some Distal since we've got it just up on the screen
Copy
now.
that.
So, right, okay.
I think I went first last time, mate. So that's you up on the.
Is it me? Is it
the ones and
okay.
twos? Let's go.
Let's try something that. So I putt with a keystone. Let's go keystone.
Yep.
Oh, couldn't be more wrong. It's it's a lot faster. It's way more fadey. It's way more glidey and a way more turny. Okay. So an up arrow on turn means more minus, right?
That's more minus. Yeah. So like -2, -3, -4.
You want to go? So you want to? So it's a -2/2 or something like that. Do you want to go to like Shrike or something like completely?
Well, I was just going to go all the way out to Daedalus because I'd love it to be the disc of the choice one day, the disc of the day one day. DADA. There it is. Second one down. Oh, I spelled it wrong. DAE. Sorry, pal. Second one.
There it is. Right. What do we got? Oh, we got. Oh, very good. So it's a speed 13.
It's slower than 13.
The manufacturer, right? So sorry.
Yeah,
but it's an Innova disc. Sorry, I'm looking on a tiny screen here. My apologies. Maybe if I. Okay, no, I'm better now. So it's a the 13.
Yeah.
-2/2, but it's a 6, and it's Innova. But a glide 6, Morgan. There's not many Innova discs with a glide of 6.
Oh no, there's a couple.
Do you know any of them? It's closer to 13 than it is to 2 speed wise.
I think like something like a turn is a speed 6. I don't. I know it's
turn
real
is -3.
I don't.
Turn is -3. -2/2. A Shrike is -2/2, and a speed 12. Isn't it?
It's gonna be funny if it's a Shrike because you called it.
Yeah,
run the Shrike.
There it is. Oh, slower again, but the numbers are right. So
you need a.
Okay, well, okay. A Mystere, says Scott Brooker.
Oh yeah, well, a Mystere is basically a Daedalus but slower.
Oh, there we are. Yeah. So that's going to be fairly close then, I would have thought. Innova is very much your wheelhouse, I have to say, over mine.
We're locking it in. We'll run it. It come from the chat. We like the chat.
Oh, it's a speed 12. We want something in between.
So 12/6
faster than a Mystere. Slower than a Shrike.
What is 12/6 -2/2?
Word.
I don't actually know anything that's like that. I'm trying to look over to what this.
Come on then. Come on, chat. Help us out. 12/6 -2/2. What do we think?
Can I stand by? And I would only do this because I have one ridiculous disc that it could be.
Okay, go on then. We'll wait for chat to give us the answer as well, whilst Morgan's dashed off to find his. Can't find it. A turn. Lewis's turn. I think a turn is -3/3. Yes. What is it? A Wahoo. Is that pronounced Wahoo?
Wahoo!
Or like a Wahoo?
Wahoo.
Well,
go the Wahoo. Would you dare?
We will all Wahoo if it's the correct answer. We shall see. Incoming. Hooray! Or Wahoo, I should say. Very good. Very good, Morgan.
I wasn't actually looking for this one. I was looking for a blue one that's not actually a Wahoo, but it has the numbers on it, and I came across this one.
There you go. So if you're after a slightly slower Shrike, get yourself a Wahoo. And in R Pro as well. Is that R Pro plastic? Or have I got that wrong?
It's R Pro, floats in water. It's this used to be like my go-to driver about 8 years ago. You ask Ben Wheeler, he used to rip shreds off me when he was still a child for throwing this. Might have to come out of retirement for a few days, I think.
It could be.
It's so rigid. Oh, it doesn't look rigid, but it is. It's solid.
Right. Let's have a look at Disc Golf Valley. Then we sent out the code earlier on. We've got a few people who have played. Let's have a look. Morgan, 10 under par. Wow.
Yes, boy.
Wow, perfect round there. Hayden with 1 down. Kelvin with 9 under. Run for your money.
Anyone further down, or is that our
Gregor,
whole lot this week?
Gregor with
we
7.
got more.
Josh with 5. Brett Carlisle 9 under par.
Louis got 2.
Louis is
2 eagles.
Louis shooting hot. He's currently out there on the course still.
Don't stuff it up, Louis. Don't stuff it up.
6 under through 4. You've got to be, that we might have to come back. Maybe
so.
you'll let us know when his round is finished, and we can put the screen back up.
Well, they only take about 4 minutes per round, so we can pop back in a couple of minutes after the next segment.
Okay. All right. Now let's have a look at some upcoming tournaments. Then there's one new one, sort of a new one. I guess it is a new one. I don't know if we can get the disc golf scene page up for this as well, Tom. For the Beat the Pros in New Zealand is the new event that's on this list.
11th of January.
On the 11th of January, right?
Ooh.
So this is taking place in Christchurch at Bottle Lake, and I only saw this because I was just perusing Disc Golf Scene. There's a screen for it. You'll see this on Disc Golf Scene if you go there. Beat the Pros in New Zealand qualifier day 1. Lots of intrigue there with a very AI generated image. We like that. We like that on the show. And it's so hosted by GK Pro, obviously linked to the Tour Down Under. I don't know anything about this, right?
No, I was just about to ask you about the qualifying round,
right? $65 to enter. It's taking place at Bottle Lake in Christchurch on Saturday, January the 11th, which is the same weekend as Egg Monster, right? Which is the first Tour Down Under event happening in January. So if you're not playing in Egg Monster and you're in Christchurch, which might be more accessible for some people, then that could be something that you might want to get involved in, or at least go along and watch, right? I don't know. Well, presumably there'll be some advertising on this or some social media posts or something. But yeah, we were just perusing Disc Golf Scene earlier on today and saw this, so I thought we'll pop it up. So yeah, that's one event that's coming up. Looking at the rest of the events, there's no new events here. So Egg Monster and Topol Classic are the other Tour Down Under events. Not heard of any other pros that have been announced after Ezra Robinson, Morgan.
No, but that's a huge one. So I mean, they can just let that one sit for a hot minute, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, what is he, 5th highest rated player in the world or something like that? So I mean, yeah, that's pretty good. That's
he's
pretty
incredible.
Get. Also, and Aaron Gossage is a good get as well. Honestly,
for sure.
That's going to be real good. Really looking forward to Tour Down Under and to Topor and to Nationals as well. Actually, looking forward to the whole kind of festival of it all. Should be good fun. On to the next page. I'm not sure there's any new events on here either, but dates for the calendar if you're looking ahead. Morgan, what are you looking at? Roxburgh, obviously for you.
Yeah, I was
Smash,
pretty much 100% locked in for Nationals, and I don't know if I can make it happen now. Like, we are going to be there, but we've really got to get back and pull our socks up for Roxburgh. So we because that's the next weekend after that. So we really just need to get back and get our stuff sorted, if you know what I mean. It still might happen, but we'll see. It all depends how the preparation goes over the next month or so for Rocks. But yeah, we're going to go to Roxburgh 100%, Southern Smash 100%, Queenstown Classic. I mean, I'll probably try and get down to Paradise, but Queenstown Classic's the big one on my radar there. As I mentioned previously, I've been given the keys to run the tournament, so a lot of work's already going into that right now. So stay tuned.
Excellent. For me, I'm looking at Nationals in Christchurch in February, and then Dystopia in March is also one that's on my radar as well. Over at Henley Lake, it's good fun, that one.
Just a
So,
quick
yeah.
one there. Was it on the other page or the Disc Daddies one? Was that on the last page? So there is
so yes, this is right.
the
So
Disc Daddies event, 108 holes in one day at Jelly Park.
yeah, that's right. So it's the Disc Daddies present the longest day now. So this is taken inspiration from the Centurion, which
Yes.
you'll remember was first done in Wellington in I want to say 2021. We did it in and there was 4 of us: myself, Brady, Jack Ryan, and Troy. And we did 100 holes, 101 holes in a day. And then the following year, we opened it up and had about 20 people doing it. And then we did it. And then the next year, it was on as well. I haven't seen any information from like people in Wellington wanting to run this, so I'll have to see if ask the question as to who might step up and run it, because it is a good day out. But anyway, the Disc Daddies have taken this one step further and have gone, no, we're going to sanction it. So they're going to play 6 17-hole shotgun rounds, right? For a total of 102 holes. So they're even beating us on the number of holes. Now, the difference here between this and the Wellington one was the Wellington one, you had to travel to 3 different courses, right? So you had to play Harcourt Park twice, Petone 4 times, and then Berhampore twice. You're playing 6 rounds of the same 17 holes all in one day. An optional $5 ace kitty. I will eat my hat if no one gets an ace on that day. I mean, just the amount of golf being played is just silly. So yeah, as you can see, they've got it kicking off at 8 o'clock. Sounds about right, and finishes at 7:30. So yeah, so that's looks like it's a good bit of fun. It's a very, very long day. Morgan, I don't know if you've done anything like an enduro disc golf event before.
Nah, but I'm just sort of scrolling through the Queenstown club chat because we've just been sort of voting on when we're going to do our club champs, and that's going to be across 2 days around every course in Queenstown.
Oh yeah,
some of those don't have South Island par 4s, Matt. So I think there'll be some some sore knees and legs after that one.
Yeah. So that's the Disc Daddies, the longest day. That's on the same weekend as the Topor Classic. So if you're not able to make it to Topor and you're in Christchurch on that day, then that might be an option for you.
I'm just looking here. Saturday, you played 9 holes at Jardine, 18 holes at Kelvin Grove, which is in the hills, and then in the afternoon, 18 holes at Flight Park, and then 18 holes at Tucker's. Oh no, Tucker's. Sorry, Tucker's is Sunday. Sorry, I've just read that wrong. It's a bit far away.
Okay.
Yeah. Jardine, Kelvin, and Flight Park on Saturday. Tucker's and Gardens on Sunday. Yeah.
Okay. So well, that's interesting. So that's those ones. That's those events in. And so get along to them, because the Christchurch one, that sounds like it's good fun. If I was in Christchurch, 6 rounds, man, that's a lot of disc golf, right? 102 holes. You're throwing, your arm.
If they have
102 drive.
If they have good pace of play, though, you can get around that place really quick.
Yeah, you can. Yeah. You can, but there's still, you still got to throw a drive 102 times. You still got to make a putt 102 times. So minimum. I mean, it's I mean, it's going to be so yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe we ought to have a sweepstake as to what the winning score will be, because presumably you'd expect them to go like 12 down or 12, 13 down 6 times.
Yeah.
What
date was that on? Sorry, I just missed that. I feel like it's the day after
11th of January.
No, 11th. 11th of January is beat the pros. 18th, yeah, it's the day after.
Sorry, so
I go to
18th
Thailand.
January. Okay. Yeah. saying too easy, they don't even have hills. That's true. There's very, very little elevation. There's a couple of water carries though to consider. So
my A was actually for what we can see on our left-hand side screen that the public can't see right now, and we have had the final score come in over on Disc Golf Valley.
Go on then. What is it? What have we got? Morgan, you're 10 down. And Kelvin on 9.
And surprise, surprise.
Louis Hickson.
11 under
there
par.
It is. 11 under par with an ace on
Good man.
Very well done.
Good man.
He wins every week. Right. So I think all that's left for us to do is to head across to power rankings to see how these have changed over the last week or so. And so in FPO to start, I'm just getting my update here. There's no change at the very top, but Amy Whitmore moves up 2 spaces to 3rd. Charlotte Dunkley moves up 3 spaces to 8th. And further down, where are we further down? Sorry, my resolution's gone all. E.T. Hoffman moves up 2 spots to 21st. In MPO, no change at the very top. Jack Maffey moves up 2 spots to 10th.
Top 10, Jackie boy, attaboy.
That's right. Jake Brennan moves down 5 spots to 15th. And can we go further down? Yeah. So a little bit of movement this week, but not huge. It was for the fact that 2 tournaments were running. Changes in the top 25 were pretty seldom. Were pretty small. So yeah. I mean, I don't know if there's any big movements. Andrew Faulkner moves up 69 spots to 106th, and Chris Townsley moves up 64 spaces to 29th, thanks to his 2nd place finish at Auckland. So that Morgan, do you know where you are ranked? Should we have a look? Should we have a quick look?
60th, around there, I think.
Bang on. Well done. 60th. You were down 2 spots following this weekend.
I think the highest I've ever been in New Zealand at the end of a season. Hold on, it's just on my wall there.
So actually, Tom,
11.
Can you just type my name in? Type my name in a minute. So I'm not in the rankings, and the reason I'm not in the rankings, for anybody wondering, and for anybody who will have access to this at some point. We are, the website is in development, and so when it has been at a state where we can launch it, then we will. The reason I'm not in it is I haven't played enough tournaments. You need to have played 5 tournaments in the calendar year prior to the most recent tournament in order to qualify. So when I've played,
how many entries we got? 277 people have played 5 or more tournaments in this previous 12-month period.
Correct. Yes.
That is less than what I thought it would have been.
Yeah. So that's that. Yeah. So who have played 5 tournaments or more in the last 12 months? In the 12 months up to the whatever the last Saturday was of November, up to the
I honestly would have thought
16th November.
I honestly would have thought that would have nearly be not doubled, but another half that again. I suppose it makes sense though, doesn't it? Like, you're getting the same characters at a lot of these big events, and then a lot of people playing 1-2 tournaments in places like Christchurch and Auckland, the biggest cities. Yeah, okay, It makes sense. Yep.
Yeah, you've got to have played 5 events in order to qualify, and that's just to remove any kind of outliers that you might get, and to also ensure that the data that you do have in terms of your ranking is one that is one that's correct, right? It gives you a few events for the averages to work themselves out and that kind of stuff, right?
Do leagues count towards this, Matt?
No, leagues don't count. So I've played 3 events now in the last year. So when I'm playing what's it called in a couple of weeks? The Rapper Rumble in a few weeks' time. So that'll be my 4th event. And then when I go and play in Topor, at the Topor Classic in the new year, then that will be my 5th event. And then I'll be in the rankings, and I'll just appear in wherever I would have been, you know, based on my dominance at that point, right? So it doesn't take into effect, you know, I don't start at 277. I'm just hidden from just pulled out of the rankings, basically. Yeah. Because I think Corey Ellis is theoretically ranked 1, but because he's played fewer than 5 events, he's excluded from the ranking.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Anyway, I think that's about it for us for this week. Thank you so much for joining us, everybody, and everybody in the chat. Thank you for all of your messages. If you are keen on supporting us further and you like what we do on the show, then please head over to our Patreon, patreon.com/sweetchainlive, and you can get involved there. Extra entries into giveaways, as well as early access to things like our new website and stuff. So you'll start seeing some of that kind of stuff come through. So yeah. But that's it from me from this week. Temuka Tussle, Morgan.
Good luck to all the players. I'm going to go Willie Taratana, 3-peat champion, baby.
There it is. 3-peat. You heard it here first. Good luck to everybody playing in Temuka and wherever you're playing disc golf. Take it easy. Play well, get some birdies, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.